Hello, Mr. Minnick here, explaining to Python newbies how they can use the on-screen click event or method in Python. I'm going to run this demo program that you can access at this web, at least as of right now, at this web page address, or look at the video notes to see where it's accessible at. And when I run the program, I click in the output window, and there's a bubble. Bubble pops up each time I click. Pretty cool. That's about it. And now it's time for you and I to review this code and understand why it works the way it does. As in any Python program, at least the way I like to explain it, you have the import section where you import other modules or libraries. You have constants that allow things to be easily changed, like the width of the bubbles there. I could easily change that 40 to a 4, run it, and every time I click, I get a little circle with a diameter of 4 instead of 40. Let's go back to 40. It's so easy to change by using what's called a constant. Down here is where the width of the bubble using the dot method is really determined, but because bubble width is equal to 40, it's as if I had a 40 typed in right there. So it's pretty much the same as putting 40 there. Don't do this. This would really mess with people. By putting a 4 there, but keeping the 40 here, now we're getting little dots that are obviously not 40 pixels wide, even though it sounds like they should be according to this constant and this hashtag comment over here. But the 4 was used instead of the name of the constant. So now this program is more truthful in its advertising now that I have bubble width typed there as well as there. Now we have the right size. Anyway, constants are great. That was just review for most students why I use constants. I sometimes have a section called setting up the screen. This is called a turtle. Sometimes I call it a pen. You can name it anything you want, like B, but that would be bad style. So I called it bubble pen. It's as if I had a pen and I were drawing bubbles or circles on this piece of paper here with my pen. And we're using turtle graphics. And turtle graphics are awesome, especially for beginners and especially for people in school. And I've even seen college students use turtle graphics in college classes. So these 4 lines of code are partly review for a lot of students that are watching this video. I need a pen so that I can draw. Okay, the rest of this program. There's a function called create new bubble. It's a defined function. All of its code is indented very evenly because that's the rule of Python. If you have one extra space here or here, and you try to run your program, it won't work. You'll get an error message here in the console output screen, bad indentation. So you really, really, really have to be careful with your indentation, whether you use spaces or the tab key on the keyboard. All the lines of code that are meant to be inside of a function must be indented evenly. Now this is something I've already covered probably in previous videos or lessons with you if you're watching this video, but what a function is simply a chunk of code that needs to be called further below in the program if you want it to actually happen or execute. So create new bubble is called by this line of code, but that's in a function itself, a function named handle mouse clicks. So where is that being called? Well, that's being called by line number 37 here. So this is the new area of this program that most video watchers are probably not knowledgeable about. So here goes. When the program runs with the click of this run button here, all of this happens and there's nothing exciting. nothing actually shows up on the screen. I'll prove that to you by temporarily cutting all of the code below it. I run and nothing shows up. This is just behind the scenes setup, setting up the stage. The play has not started yet. So this code here that I had just cut, this code right here, if I were to cut these 2 lines of code, or 3 lines of code, cut, and put the functions in there, which I can fold up like this if I want to with this little plus minus button. Because those are functions, they do nothing over here either. Watch this. I run and still nothing happens. Because it's kind of like you have Papa John's and Domino's. But if you don't call them, they don't deliver you a pizza. So no pizza for you. And no soup for you either if you didn't call the soup place. So this is a silly program right now, but there is a lot of code here about ready to see some action. So here it goes. I'm pasting back in the code that makes it all work. And this is the new part. So pay attention or pause the video here. Go get a drink of water and settle in for the real new explanation. When the program runs, because there's a screen turtle, oh, I forgot to introduce you. Screen on line 10. Screen is the background of the window. That's the window itself over here. This whole window is, I named it screen. I could have named it S, but screen is just a good name. Some people call Windows WN. It's a very famous name for Windows, but I'm calling it screen. You have to use the turtle graphic command turtle.screen with a capital S and empty parentheses. That's just the way it is. Not to be confused with turtle.turtle. That would be the name that you would, that's what you would use to create a pen that you draw on the screen with. So the screen equals turtle.screen. Okay, so because I named it screen and not S, I type screen dot, and here's a built-in function that just works inside of Turtle Graphics. Just like pen up and speed, they just work and do what you've previously learned. On-screen click works as long as you spell it right. Lowercase s, lowercase c. Now, in the parentheses of on-screen click, you could put the name of any DEF defined function. So either one of these could be typed in here. I'm going to type in create new bubble. By typing create new bubble and running this program without the parentheses, interestingly, you don't put the parentheses in this situation. When I run this program and do an on-screen click, wait, Chase has a question. Chase?
You forgot to capitalize the N in
Oh, good catch. I'm wondering why it's not working, and I have an error message over here. Create new bubble is not defined. I forgot, I didn't notice I needed a capital N and a capital B to be consistent with this function, which I've explained in earlier programs. This is not something that's part of Turtle Graphics. That's just something that I typed up. I whipped it up and typed it in there. It's a function, of course. So now that, thank you, Chase, now that I've spelled it correctly with upper and lowercase sensitivity, it now works. When I run this program and click, I should get a bubble. And I'm not sure why it's not. So I'm going to pause my video and come right back. Okay, we're back. I had forgotten that if you are handling on-screen clicks, it's called handling mouse clicks, you must put X comma Y in the parentheses of whatever function you created to handle that. The position of the click is considered to be X and Y. So if I click in the exact middle, X will be 0 and Y will be 0. Now I'm not actually using X and Y in any meaningful way here. I'm going to temporarily put X there and temporarily disable random.randomInt. I'm going to put Y there. Now when I run this program and I click the screen, create new bubble will be called with this call statement. The X and the Y will be detected as to where I clicked, and this variable X, random X and random Y, I'm just going to put in XY here. The bubble pen will go to the spot XY and create a dot of the width 40. Check it out. I run it, I click, and right there, that's the center of the bubble that I get. Ready? Click, click, click. Pretty fun program. It uses on-screen click to then call a function where I take advantage of the fact that Python knows the location of XY, and I send my previously created bubble pen to that spot, and I use the dot command to draw a bubble. So using some previously made functions that are built into Python Turtle, goto and dot, as well as on-screen click, I added my own function called create new bubble, and with the use of a constant just to make this easy to upgrade, say 3. Now I'll get teeny tiny bubbles everywhere I click. All because of how mouse click works. And by the way, if you want mouse click to work, you have to have screen.listen right below screen.onscreen click. If I hashtag that out or were to delete the listen, it would kind of look good here, but it's sort of as if the screen is not listening for my click. When I click, oh, it was not supposed to work actually. So actually I take that back. We don't need screen.listen, apparently. It's working now. Okay, that's a wrap. Actually, it's not a wrap. I'm going to bring screen.listen back, and this time I'm going to edit undo everything that I've done. Take this back to the original version that I first opened up this video with. It's very close to the version we just went over. When I click the screen, I call the function handle mouse clicks. Handle mouse clicks simply creates a new bubble by calling create new bubble. And in this situation, create new bubble uses 2 random numbers to place the bubble in a random spot. So it really doesn't matter where I click. I'm going to click in the upper left corner just to prove a point. Every time I simply click the screen, random numbers are being generated rather than the XY location of my click. So that's how this version handles mouse clicks, with a function that calls a function that creates random numbers. You can change colors and sizes and maybe some other features of this program on your own. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. Go to Minic.com if you have any other questions, please.